Oh. Wow.
Hi, Gaijin.
Well. Well. Hi. Hi, Agent. Hi, Frank.
That's me.
Oh, okay, you did hear me all those times. Okay.
Wait, which times?
When I was saying, well,
Yeah.
I was hoping for you to go, well.
Oh, was that the... Okay. Well. This thing sized correctly.
Alright, well, last time around, I do believe we went through chapters 3, 4, and 5. While we're waiting, why don't you do the thing you did last time? Read these.
Your visitors introduced themselves, the Inquisitors Blessed Sam and Blessed Jacob, and they asked you some questions. Blessed Sam asked you to heal his pet dragon Thomas. You agreed and healed Sam's dragon.
Rawr.
That's the whole chapter.
That's the whole chapter because, reasons.
Chapter 4. You found yourself captured in the basement of the cathedral. The specter from the sunken academy rescued you. You found a university student held in the cathedral dungeon, the last mage left there. You freed the student, whose name was Vance. You encouraged Vance to leave you and run free. You found a secret passage that avoided a somewhat terrifying room. You found a room that looked similar to a vision of a pleasant afterlife. You found a room full of divination crystals monitored by the Many-Eyed Watcher. You killed the Watcher. You found the cathedral's library. The Hierophant came to make an offer of sainthood to you. Inquisitors and church guards pursued you out of the capital. You escaped the cathedral and headed home. Chapter 5. You blasted all but one of the guards pursuing you, leaving the lone survivor to report that you are not to be trifled with. You headed back to Ackerton. You visited an artifact seller in the market who sold a variety of rare items, including something called a Fate Shaper. You met a hat seller and bought a hat. You read in True Life of Abraxas that those who follow orders regularly are more likely to be glamored. You learned the location of the Magisterian capital from the True Life of Abraxas. Sia Marie told a fortune in which time is running out. Things would come back from the past to haunt you, and you needed to pick something to concentrate in. You told Kaz that fruit seller Fran was a spy. You wrote a letter to the Queen warning her of a potential invasion by the neighbors. You learned that an item called the Great Oracle lies in the Magisterian Palace, and that it could be used to join all minds into one. In response to your letter, the Queen offered you a position as an advisor, which you accepted.
That's right. And that leaves us here with a massive amount of negation power.
Mm-hmm.
Not great in the glamour department. And we've given up it looks like we've given up on our original passion of Vivimancy. Because how can one who has to embrace the dark even dare to harness the power of life?
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, yeah, this is all being done by Frank's covering his left eye and talking as if he is cursed voice.
Yes. Because that's who our character definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get more power in order to protect the things that are important in this world.
That's right.
Like power. That's important.
You await Queen Thekla in her great throne room. A large hall festooned with banners of various important noble houses and busy with gossiping courtiers. The courtiers' main topic of conversation at the moment appears to be you, as you catch darting glances from around the room. But they are subtle. You never quite catch a direct stare. Since you're still relatively unknown in the capital, you suppose it's your clothing that is drawing their attention. What have you decided to wear to court?
I mean, You should read the options.
My
but I
black
do know.
robes, plus subtlety plus negation, or the glamour student shirt, plus glamour.
My black robes.
Of course. You decide your black robes will continue to serve your purposes just fine. You gather that the courtiers find your black clothing extremely ominous and that they worry that you're going to turn the court evil somehow.
They should be worried about me.
I am. Increased vilification. The courtiers' own outfits are highly exaggerated with long pointed shoes that curl at the tips, and giant feather hats that must make it a challenge to navigate a crowded room. You suppose they're advertising the fact that they're too important to ever do anything menial. You perform a visual scan of the room to identify who can see and hear what. Balconies afford courtiers on the second level a view of most of the proceedings, but there are areas under these overhangs where individuals would not be able to see. The courtiers standing and sitting all along the sides of the throne room look inward, meaning those who wish to be seen by others stand along the sides, while those who only wish to observe and take the places in the back. The crowd is thickest and never silent in the back, so you would take your place there if you wish to have a public but quiet conversation. Such observations may help you make your way through the capital's political scene. Gain charisma, increased adoration. The throne, a large gilded seat flaking at the edges but still commanding, is accompanied by a second seat made of what appears to be pure alabaster. The back of the chair is engraved with a flame, an eye, and a sun. This must be the seat of the Queen's blessed advisor. You briefly wonder whether you will get a chair as well. A servant in the Queen's navy blue and gold livery emerges from or livery, perhaps, emerges from the back door behind the throne and beckons to you. You follow him through the back door and into a passage that seems not to be intended for the public, judging from the old stone walls that appear dusted but unadorned. Burning torches provide the light. There are no windows. The servant knocks.
I like it.
The servant knocks on a plain-looking wooden door. Come in. No. Come in, commands an alto from within. The servant opens the door, and you are surprised to find yourself being led into the Queen's bedchamber. The Queen herself sits at a cluttered writing desk. She wears a puffy white dress that sparkles in the light from the bared skylight above. She looks younger than you expect. You knew she was 33, 8 years older than you, but somehow you had expected her to look more middle-aged. Her smooth skin and lustrous long hair admit no ravages of time, but her eyes bespeak hard-earned wisdom and a touch of amusement. You wonder at first where you're supposed to sit. The canopied four-post bed? The Queen pushes her chair away from the desk slightly, and the servant drags a cushioned chair out from behind the veiled bed and into position across from the Queen. Have a seat, Queen Thecla says, unless you plan to conjure a better one. Her attitude is pleasant, but slightly sardonic. You have the strange sensation of being watched from elsewhere, and you notice tiny embrasures on 3 of the walls where arrows could pass. Protection from assassination seems to have trumped aesthetic concerns at nearly every stage of the palace's design, and you have no doubt you would be full of arrows in a moment if you made any sudden moves. You slowly and deliberately take the seat the opposite the Queen. I understand you're willing to be my advisor, but the deal is not yet final on my end, Queen Thecla says. I'd just like you to answer some questions for me first. She pauses as you stifle a go-ahead because it would be presumptuous to give the Queen permission to do anything. Are the magics of the saints and the magics of the ancients one and the same? Queen Thecla asks you. Yes, the Church is engaged in a grand deception. Yes, but for the good of humanity, this must not become widely known. Or, no, the magic of the ancients is more powerful.
I mean...
What do you think the answer is?
Oh, Gaijin agrees with me, actually. Yes, the Church is engaged in a grand deception.
Yeah, right. You describe the church's plot to use mages as saints, to the best of your knowledge. How interesting, Queen Thecla says lightly. And why do you see fit to reveal their deception? They've done me no wrong. I see no reason to treat they've done me wrong. I see no reason not to treat them in kind. The truth is always preferable to falsehood, or I'm your loyal subject, bound to always tell you the truth.
I think I don't like number one, because it's like... No. Of course they did me wrong. That's the way the world works. But then the question remains to me, is it like, I uphold the value of truth, or is it like, I should probably flatter the queen?
I do really like, I like imagining the terse anime boy sitting there with his hand over his eyes, thinking to himself, I uphold the truth. No. Obviously I should suck up to the queen. No. Wait. Yes? Yes.
I think two.
Very well. There are many at court who would disagree with you, the queen says. Sometimes it's wiser not to reveal how the sausage is made. You can tell that your response has not endeared you to the queen. Decreased Thecla relationship. But at least the queen now knows the church is deceptive. And which of the ancient schools do you specialize in? Queen Thecla asks. I have read a little of all five. In books we have not seen fit to turn over to the church. Vivimancy? Negation? She says this last word with a kind of naughty grin, but you can't quite tell whether you're being baited. You don't have to be entirely honest, but you suspect the queen might see through a complete bluff. Negation. Negation. I can destroy your enemies if you wish. Automation. I prefer creating wondrous inventions above all else. Glamour. I prefer the power to impress. Divination. Knowledge is power. Vivimancy. The power of life itself is indispensable.
I kind of probably feel like maybe we shouldn't just say negation outright. What are our stats again? Relative? Oh, divinations. Oh, right, because we stole all those crystals.
Mm-hmm.
So divinations are second, not our third.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here thinking. I reread this and I was like, we're sitting here in our floppy black hat, dark robes, and harbor latent malevolence, and we're sitting here thinking, surely she cannot know of my dark power. I do notice by the way that you radiate horrible shadowy motes that you must be some sort of wizard. What kind?
Oh, those are divination motes. They're
Yes.
for divining things. That's how you know the divination is working.
And those horrible coughs that you keep making.
Those, a heavy smoker.
Yes, that would do it.
I mean, I was gonna say automation, but that's no longer our second best. So I guess if we're gonna deceive, we might want to say divination.
All right. If we want to deceive, we'd have to say divination, probably.
I think we do.
You think we do?
I mean, you do have a point.
that we are sitting in the most impossibly edgy dark mage outfit imaginable, and we are going to say to the queen with straight face, I love to know secrets. I like to hear what people say about me, because I want to know if they like me.
I just really love gossip. It's my big passion.
Or GG, as I like to call her.
I don't know. We did literally just say I uphold truth above all else, but it's not like I'm an honest man.
I don't remember if we've been a liar or not.
I feel like we've mostly tended pretty honest.
Because we hate ourselves and life around us.
Yeah.
We hate life because we love life. It's beautiful and it's corrupted by all the blackness within us and without us.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like we haven't been in that many situations where I felt like we wanted to lie. Like when we've had an opportunity, it was like, well... It's a toughie to me, actually, weirdly. Tough. I don't know. I can't decide between negation and divination. Gaijin hasn't voted.
Well, Gaijin seems to have wandered away.
Classic Gaijin. Well... fuck it, negation.
Fuck it, negation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. If no one has any objections.
I don't see Gaijin objecting.
Mm-hmm.
Is Gigi with you? Is she objecting?
She's in bag.
Mm.
Gigi would be very happy to... Huh? I destroy things. What's negation? I destroy things.
Really? The queen seems pleased. Increased sectal relationship.
Oh.
That does seem like quite a useful bargaining chip to have in one's pocket. Not that I would ever want you to actually use it. She taps her cheek in thought. Still, if the public were to find out, they wouldn't stand for it, superstitions being what they are. Better to keep it between us and the enemy of the throne.
If you say so.
You say. What precisely can you do? The queen asks. You describe the balls of negative energy that you can lob at opponents, then theorize about how such power might be used to drive factories. You also relate how you parted the death cloud that threatened Akraton. Yes, that will do nicely, the queen says. Increased Thekla relationship. Again, just in moderation, a single demonstration could do quite a bit to convince rebellious nobles to actually pay their taxes. The queen leans forward and steeples her fingers. Now, tell me about your hopes and dreams, she says. What's at the end of this road for you? You find it a bit difficult to answer honestly when it's clear she's trying to evaluate your character and usefulness, but she seems like the sort who finds honesty refreshing to a point. I'm just taking things one step at a time. I want to create something really marvelous. I want power, of course. Power is freedom. I find magic fascinating. I just want to learn. I will just want to learn all I can. Or I want to do good, however I can, for as long as I can.
I mean, the real answer is both 3 and 5. Those are both... like, both of those are accurate. I want power, of course. Power is freedom. But also obligation. Obligation to do good however you can, no matter the consequences. That's true power. Power is a shackle. I mean, I really want to make a cool pony or something. I think 5 probably, because it is pretty close to true.
Mm-hmm. No,
Well,
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
I guess. That's admirable, I suppose, Queen Thecla says with a slight hint of disappointment. Perhaps she had plans in mind for you that were a bit more grandiose than that. To grease Thecla relationship.
Grandiose.
The people will be happy to hear it. And now, I've saved the most important question of this interview for last, the Queen says. To whom do you owe your utmost allegiance? Is it me, or someone else? The Queen says this lightly, as if any answer will do. But you doubt that. I shall be your loyal subject first and foremost. My highest loyalty is to the Church. My highest loyalty is to a higher power, Abraxas. My first loyalty is always to my own conscience, or I serve nobody, but I will ally with you for now.
Really wild. You can be like, I do still like the Church, though. Really wild. Cajun says lion, say 1. I'd be okay with that.
Okay, sorry, let me... I'm sorry, I did everybody a disservice. I shall be your loyal subject first and foremost. My highest loyalty is to the Church. My highest loyalty is to a higher power, Abraxas. My first loyalty is always to my own conscience. I serve nobody, but I will ally with you for now.
I think 4.
Gaten says 1, you think 4. Alright.
Dice time?
Dice time! Gaten says, I think the Queen won't like 4.
Probably not.
How are we doing with her so far? Good. Psyching us okay for right now. Wonder if we could piss off another employer. I'm going to roll a D8. And if it's closer to 1 without going over, it's 1. If it's closer to 4 without going over, it's 4. Oh, no, wait. If it's closer to 4 without going under... 1, you know what? Never mind. This is convoluted. 1 to 4 is 1. 5 to 8 is 4. I don't care if that doesn't make sense. 2. Which means 1.
Of course I'll be loyal to you, though.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it, Queen Thecla says. Of course, you may be acting obsequious out of the hope that it will win my favor. But as long as you're willing to be obsequious in public, it hardly matters to me. She smiles cheerfully. Increased Thecla relationship. Yeah, you're bullshitting me, but, bullshit me in front of the subjects and I don't care. As Queen Thecla concludes your meeting by saying, I think you're more presentable than I could have hoped, and charming as well. I shall publicly announce that from this point forward I have 2 advisors, one from the Church, and one magical advisor. The same liveried servant who escorted you before is waiting at the door. Servant Pons can show you and your new quarters and provide you with your first payment, Queen Thecla says. Gain 300 gold. Oh, and one more thing. Since yours is a new position, there's no traditional title for you. What would you like to be called? Court Wizard Vex. Court Witch Vex, Royal Sorcerer Vex, Royal Witch Vex.
Interesting you can't be a royal wizard. I think royal sorcerer fits us closest.
Billowing in my blackest robes, spewing orbs of negation out of my hands, I look at you and say, I'm the Court Witch. Very well, Queen Thecla says with a nod. Welcome to the palace, Royal Sorcerer Vex. Your new room at the palace is a spacious room on the ground floor, which you understand used to belong to a beloved servant who passed away recently. It contains amenities such as a fireplace with a very recently dusted mantel, a skylight that lets in more light than even the Queen's, and its own stair to a cool and dark basement storage area, which still holds some old wine casks. The room is off a very central corridor, and you think it is the Queen's intention that you mingle. You're certain you will. Gain charisma, increased adoration. Your things arrive from Acroton in a week. Your furniture and possessions remain roughly the same even if your locale has changed. And you decorate your new room with the sentimental curios that once adorned your old basement room. You smuggle your golem into your room in a large crate, which you pretend is full of books. The Queen's delivered servants curse as they wrestle the box into your room, but they don't suspect its nature. When you unpack your golem, it seems unperturbed. It slowly rises to a standing position and silently waits your orders once more.
Don't wander out of here without my permission.
You tell your golem.
The servants might worry they're being replaced, and the last thing I need is to have the servants allied against me. Ola Kala Dominex.
The golem affirms.
You know the drill. Keep my things safe and help me with magical experiments as before. Ola Kala Dominex.
When you're nearly done moving into the palace, you find a note at the bottom of the wagon bed. Your mother's neat calligraphy is unmistakable. She must have slipped it under a box while she and your father were helping you move. Vex, we will always be proud of you no matter what you do. But remember what Grandma always said, that the greatest magics in the world are love and hope. And a good joke. Your father wants me to add, I suppose she did say that once. You are dear to us, magical no matter what you do. Try to do good, eat healthy, meet someone nice, preferably wealthy. You might think that doesn't matter, but it does. Your father is acting all insulted now, but of course I mean that if you find true love, you should marry whomever you choose. And if on the other hand you are indecisive, and I know how long you take to make choices sometimes, it couldn't hurt to have a little more income in the family. Love and hope, Mama. Tal never even bothered to say goodbye to you. You suppose that's unsurprising given how badly you've gotten along lately. Seer Marie stays in Acroton, as you thought she might. It's too bad. You were growing rather fond of her through your lessons. You learn from the palace gossip that Blessed Sam has been promoted from being an inquisitor to being the Queen's own Blessed Advisor, replacing Blessed Advisor Armand. Apparently the Hierophant believes that your position as the Queen's magical advisor would be best counterbalanced by someone from the church who knows you. You expect to disagree with him, cordially, about a number of things. Shortly after you move into the palace, the Queen calls you to her chamber once again. The Queen this time wears a shimmering blue dress with black lace, as formal as the last dress you saw her in. A solemn man in gray tunic and black cape is bent over to whisper in her ear. He reflexively straightens as you enter. Spymaster Dole here has looked into your warnings about the neighbors, and I'm afraid the news is not good, Queen Thecla says. Well, we set up watches along the negative sea in response to your warning. Spymaster Doll tells you. This is why I whisper.
Oh boy.
And we have indeed seen small airships emerge from the negative sea. Their smooth metal hulls appear impervious to the sea's corrosion. I think they're scouts. We are woefully unprepared for an invasion. Gaijin asks a wagon if a wagon bed is like a ye old race car bed. Gaijin, if I play this again, there's a very specific choice that you better be present to make. Because that's a valid theory. Anyway,
Makes me really curious as to what that could possibly mean.
We haven't had an invasion in over 200 years, Queen Thecla tells you. With the mountains to the north and south and the negative sea to the east, our army has only had to deal with the Domitans and their ships from the west. And the occasional insurrection, of course, but we're basically out of practice at warfare, while the Magisterian Empire, well, they probably never gave up either magic or war, and have been practicing since the negative sea separated us. Let's not be hasty, the spymaster says with a raised hand. We don't know that they desire war at all. These vessels were magical, certainly, but they were not visibly armed. But they have the technology of the ancients, and we do not. And they can readily see that. Queen Thecla turns to you. And that's where you come in. You must advise us on how to best catch up to the Magisterians. Tell us which magics we need to convince them we aren't backward. You blink at the sudden responsibility.
You're asking me to shape society itself.
Oh, you don't get free rein like that, the Queen says. I am bound to listen to the church as well, and they will like none of this. If the people turn against me as a witch, then the kingdom will surely burn. So we must move, subtly but swiftly, so that the church cannot turn back the clock. The Queen concludes the meeting, asking you to think about what she has said, and to prepare for debates on the subject with her blessed advisor, who shall act as the voice of the church and tradition. Your mind reels as you make your way back to your room. What magics should the kingdom revive, and which should stay buried? It's a big responsibility. But if the Magisterians have only sent scouts so far, you may have a little time yet. The very same evening, you find that a letter has been slipped under your door. You have proven to be a wily snake indeed, slithering up to a seat at the Queen's side. You'll be pleased to know that my interest in you personally has dropped dramatically since we last crossed paths. I thought you were something else. But here's a secret for you. I am not so bound to tradition as you might think. I'm told your magic is necessary to defending the kingdom from the neighbors. So be it. I am more practical than you might realize. But the moment I believe you are a bigger threat than they, I will see you dead, magic or no. Show some respect, and try not to overdo it. That's all I ask of you, wizard. Sincerely, blessed and most holy, Hierophant Elizabeth. So it appears Inquisitors won't be trying to abduct you in the night anymore. Probably. You heave a relieved sigh and crumple the letter. The next day, you begin the task of deciding just how far the Kingdom of Irenia should advance in magic in a short time. Your appearance at court is not greeted with any kind of fanfare, but you have a nice mahogany chair next to the throne on the Queen's left-hand side, while the alabaster chair of the Blessed Advisor is on the right. You really have fallen into the fucking perfect position. I'm the Queen's left hand. I do what must be done, not because I derive joy from it, but because it must be done. And I'm here to help.
The left hand, indeed.
And you even have a fucking black chair.
Yes, black like my soul and well polished, like... Well, it's comfortable, is all I'm saying. It's nice. It's a nice chair. Thank you.
It does look rather nice, if a bit intimidating.
I mean, your chair's nice too, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if it made me look a little, innocent.
Everything looks innocent to me.
Well, all right then.
Dinner tonight?
Maybe. I mean, you are talking to the person who likes you the best.
Yeah, no, I think...
The fucking Blessed Sam, elevated to being the Blessed Advisor Sam, whose partner you killed.
Yeah, he didn't like his partner, though.
Well, he also... I don't know that he knows you did that.
That also is fair.
I don't think that the Hierophant is openly advertising that a renegade mage shooting negation magic slipped from her grasp, and an inquisitor and 2 soldiers died because of it.
But if she was advertising that,
She
probably be bad.
Well, yeah, but she probably would have said something like, "Blessed Jacob was a blessed pain in the ass, so this was inevitable."
She's probably be more fine with it than Sam would be.
Yeah, no.
Honestly.
It does seem to be... Hi. It does seem to be the Queen's strategy to try to make your appearance seem to be business as usual, though the courtiers point in your direction and whisper in an unsubtle way. The Blessed Advisor is already seated in his chair, and, just as you heard from the palace gossip, it's none other than the erstwhile Blessed Sam. He gets up to greet you. "I heard you were the new advisor," he says. "Congratulations. I'm sure we'll get along splendidly, even if we don't always agree." Queen Thekla, you did heal his dragon.
Yeah.
Pretty big boast. Queen Thekla wears the most elaborate dress you have seen her wear yet. A floor-length, deep blue dress with puffy silhouette and black lace embellishments, and a giant navy blue collar accentuated with tiny sapphires. When she takes the throne, the deliberations begin. "As you both now know, we need to advance the kingdom in a hurry," Queen Thekla says. "For those of you who know what is about to happen, let us not grieve the old ways." The court begins to murmur, but the Queen silences them with a steady look. "I have no patience for myths, nostalgia, or fantasy right now," the Queen says. "The truth is, there never was a time the world was not changing out from under us. The world has always been in crisis. The old ways are always dying. The world is always being born anew. Let us begin with the creation of impressive ships." You can tell Queen Thekla intends to talk around the Magisterian Empire for as long as possible, just in case the courtiers decide to pay attention to someone besides themselves. "Royal Sorcerer Vex, how is it done?"
Automation magic, Your Majesty.
You say.
Not only to power the ships themselves, but also to create magical factories that achieve a speed of production unmatched by human hands.
It suddenly dawns on you that even though conventional wisdom blames the ancients for the perpetual thunderheads above you, the Magisterians may have been using automation for 2,000 years since then, making the storms worse. But if so, they have shown enough restraint to avoid bringing about the end of the world. "Can we do the same?" the Queen asks. "Use magical power instead of animals or human labor to increase production?" Blessed Advisor Sam looks as if he's going to be ill at this suggestion.
It's dangerous, because the world is already on the brink of disaster with the storms wrought by automation magic.
You say.
But certainly automation is the most time-tested source of magical power.
"Well, do you have any other suggestions?" the Queen asks. The Church's recommendation would be to encourage people to discover the power within themselves."
Oh, God, nerd alert.
Oh, come on. Blessed Advisor Sam says with some agitation. "I know I'm new here, but how can we just start using magic like this? This is crazy."
In a less metaphorical sense, negative energy could also be used as a source of power.
You say. Ignoring the sense of general approbation in the room, you continue.
The Dark Sun is not inherently evil. Its power is just most commonly turned into blast using negation magic, but it doesn't have to be so uncontrolled. The negative energy beneath the surface of the Earth could potentially provide a source of power that has none of the climate-altering drawbacks of automation, except for altering the climate to have giant clouds of death smoke, but, you know.
Well, I mean...
I guess I don't know that those stick around if they're minor. It's not clear to me.
Also, as we just realized, wait, also, we just assumed that automation had caused storms so bad that they lasted 2,000 years, when it's obvious, actually, something's probably been keeping them at the state they're in. So who knows? The thing is that nobody knows, probably.
And our mastery over negation would also prove an advantage in the war.
The war? You know that general superstition about the Dark Sun is still rampant, so you decide to close on a brighter note.
Or, finally, we could engineer beasts to take the place of what the machines might have done. Dodecapeds, dragons, their food would be a very safe source of energy.
You sense a general distaste for this proposal as well. Everybody knows the monsters roaming the countryside are the result of ancient hubris. And what is your recommendation? The Queen prompts. Let's harness the power of storms, as the neighbors do. Let's harness the energy of the Dark Sun, greater power, without damage to the skies. Let's create beasts of labor that will gain their energy from enhanced foods. We don't need magical power sources. It'll displace human labor and cause chaos.
This is no toughie to me.
Yeah, well, it's not all going to be making decisions in your podunk town about whether or not you want to, like, punk some weirdo.
I'm tending towards the automation. In part because I feel like, okay, if the war happens, A, they're already fucking it up, which I know is probably a bad reason, but it's probably, but like, I don't know.
Do we want to just give everyone the power of negation? Most dangerous, on a personal level.
That's kind of partially my thought process, steering me away from it.
You did take a special opportunity to say, the Dark Sun is not inherently evil. It does not have to be so uncontrolled. Look at you. You're proof. You're proof that its darkness need not mean destruction. Although also sometimes you kill people, but that's beside the point.
Also, I guess for the benefit of Gaijin and also Bedroom Punk, we did the each one of those schools of magic has a different drawback, just to be clear. Negation's drawback is that like you're drawing power from the Dark Sun that exists inside the Earth. But the drawback is you create like terrible like clouds of mild negation dust that like get left behind, and if there's enough of them, they can form into big negation clouds, which just sort of eternally roam the world. Automation is making like robotics and machinery and stuff. But the more you use
and
it,
also animating non-living things.
But when you use it, it makes the eternal storm that roils across the whole world. Question mark? Certainly.
Yeah,
our
the
whole
sky
area.
the entire sky has been covered by an eternal storm for 2,000 years.
A storm bad enough that sometimes lightning, when it gets bad, like lightning just comes down and destroys parts of towns occasionally, and you just kind of have to live with it.
It just falls. It's like literally, it just happens. What you do to cast automation is you draw the electricity from the storm, so you are constantly encouraging it to find a source on the ground.
So if automation magic was stopped being used everywhere, then probably the storm would go away, is what we kind of just realized.
Maybe.
Maybe. We don't know that.
At the very least, it wouldn't be as bad.
Because the neighbors that we're going to go to war against have been on the other side of a sea of negation magic for
2,000 years.
How many? 2,000 years. So they still use magic over there too. That's all we really know about them. Glamour, which we're bad at, is just generally being charming and getting people to like and agree with you. But the more you use it, the more you rot on the inside until eventually you're literally rotting from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. Glamour,
yeah,
glamour is, but pretty metal for something that's so soft and like. So yeah, glamour is just effectively leave you with a subtle glow, a kind face, a scent that's pleasing, and everybody is compelled to act in your favor. And then after the glamour wears off, your stomach clenches into a fist and tries to rip itself out.
Mm-hmm. Because you're drawing from your own energy.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Since you're using it on yourself. Unlike all the others where you are not. Divination.
Well,
I guess Vivimancy you can too. That's fair. Divination is you can learn things about people or places or objects, but the downside is they learn something about you in return. They become aware of you in some way.
And if it's an object, it's something. If it's an object, somebody who that object is important to becomes aware of you.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty straightforward this and that.
It does have it also actually does draw from your power, but it's your mental energy. It just sort of leaves you tired.
Yeah.
Like
it's not terribly dangerous.
It's what you'd expect. It's what you'd expect MP is abstracting in a game.
And then Vivimancy is it's creating, mostly seems to be shaping living things into other shapes, but it can be enhancing them, it can be creating life.
Yes.
Yeah. And altering them. It draws from life energy, which could be from you, but it could also be
from the target, or from
the
planet.
target, or from anywhere. One time we drew it just from life energy that was in some magical clothing. Mm-hmm. The downsides, you are drawing life energy from something, so that's kind of a downside. And the other downside is that it's inherently unpredictable.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just does stuff, and that stuff stays. If you make a face, it might stay that way.
Yep. Literally. Yeah. So that's what all that and that's what all that is.
So none of them are inherently good or evil, although negation magic definitely is about making destructive things, and probably has the worst reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Although all of them have bad reputations. I guess divination probably has the best reputation.
I mean, if people know about it, which most of them don't.
Yeah.
People only know about the horrendous evils of negation magic because it's the most visibly obvious, and the church is able to evoke that to be like, so see, don't do magic. It's look at the death cloud. You see the death cloud? That's not in our Bible. That's not us preaching at you. That's a death cloud. It does that.
It's not a death cloud. Excuse me.
Oh.
You're terribly misrepresenting my art.
Vivimancy is known mostly because of the horrible beasts that rage across the countryside.
Mm-hmm. But also dwegs.
Yes, Vivimancy is the dweg school.
I feel like we should do Dark Sun just because we know it better. It's gonna be more successful.
That is another thing we have to consider, our capacity to use it. When things come to their worst, what happens when we need to wrest back the power? Will we be able to do it? Will we be able to save everything? Or will our spells go horribly awry? Or,
So, yeah,
or rather, I guess I would put it like, I wasn't strong enough.
Need more power.
So,
You're right. I think I'm leaning towards the negation. And as much as I'm trying not to always just be like, negation is my button for doing thing, it does seem like this is a big choice that we should specifically be something we're good at.
final answer?
For me,
Everyone's been quiet for so long, so I don't know if they probably checked out the moment we started explaining things.
possibly.
So I'm gonna just do it. Achievement, perfectly safe.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, Gaijin. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to slander you. You take a deep breath before delivering your unpopular verdict.
I think negative energy is the only way to catch up to the neighbors without destroying the world.
What? No! Blessed Advisor Sam practically shouts. Negation is a cursed magic. Have you forgotten that it created the negative sea and all of the death clouds? The kingdom must not play with such vile forces. But is all that more lies and superstition? Queen Thecla says. Blessed Advisor Sam falls silent, stunned. Can you make it safe? Queen Thecla asks you.
Yes.
You say, confident in your abilities in negation. Good enough for me, the Queen says. Engage in your magical research, and make it so. You hear astonished murmurs from the gathered courtiers. Negation magic! Ordered by the Queen herself! It's not the best way to make a first impression at court, you admit. Increased vilification. But you're convinced harnessing the power of the Dark Sun is correct in the long term.
Very hard to be a negation magic guy without increasing your vilification, huh?
A little bit. It's not very subtle. It will not be easy to convince the people that magic is suddenly acceptable, the Queen says. Perhaps some glamour magic is in order to ensure that the people are willing to follow where I lead. The church would not approve of a secular ruler impersonating a saint with magic, Blessed Advisor Sam says. Please, let the people be in awe of only the saints, so that they may hold goodness in the highest regard instead of power. You weigh whether to warn the Queen about the effects of rot, and decide she would find out soon enough anyway. The Queen blanches at your explanation of rot, but murmurs, I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to lead the kingdom, but will it be worth it? What do you think? Suggest using a glamour, rot, and church be damned. Suggest using divination to communicate with her subjects, building bonds of trust. Tell the Queen she needs no glamour. She's already strikingly beautiful. Flirt. Tell the Queen she needs no glamour. She's already most impressive. The drawbacks of glamours aren't worth it. Old-fashioned charisma must win the people over. Yeah, also, if you would like to, you can just hit on the Queen for a few minutes if you want.
Option 3 made me think of a really specific line from Dollhouse, which isn't fair.
Damn it! How dare you!
Yeah, it did though. But they only make dolls from beautiful people.
Oh, shut up! Gaijin says divination.
I kind of do. We're bad at glamour.
You should use glamour, but I can't help you with that, so...
I don't know. It feels like a really shitty response.
Her charisma's pretty good, but I think you're right, Gaijin. I think it's more telling the Queen, like, no, you just... Come on, you know what you're doing. Lay it on thick. Let's go. But
I don't think our character would be like, you should reject a new avenue of power.
Right.
Be like, no.
So I also agree
If I'm
with
ever going to
divination,
prove that this magic can be used for good, I must show them the way. Even if it is I do not wish to ask them to taint their souls like mine. But if they can use some of the the gentler magic, then maybe, maybe.
Plus, despite everything, glamour's the most evil magic of all. It taints the most sacrosanct thing a person has, their mind.
To be clear, it is not. It actually does not directly do mind control like an enchanting bard does or something. They have stated a couple times now that those who are used to following orders are a lot more likely to submit to a glamour. Those who are who balk at authority more are a lot more difficult to convince glamour, even with a glamour. So skepticism is still able to exist. You just seem nicer. Which is why Blessed Jacob didn't give a shit how glamoured anybody was. He hated everybody. So, I feel like we started to talk about other things more just for the sake of talking about them, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But I want to confirm: are we still on divination?
I am, certainly.
I will ask.
I mean, like 5 is also tempting, but
I think... All right. You.
I have a different idea.
You say?
Perhaps, in a time of change, the people only need better lines of communication with their queen. I can make it so that a discreet link is established between you and every town. No longer shall the people indirectly hear about your decrees from town criers. Instead, they shall see your image and hear your words directly. And you will be able to hear from them in turn.
Queen Thecla
I'm making it sound ominous, but I really am just kind of talking about a telephone.
This is really... Look, you've come to know me rather well, I think. You know how I talk. I could tell you about the innocence of puppies, and it would sound like this. Queen Thecla seems intrigued by this idea. What says the church? She says, turning to Blessed Advisor Sam. Blessed Advisor Sam frowns.
The church says, don't, please?
It seems unsubtle. You would be broadcasting to the whole kingdom that you are now a user of magic. This inspired a whole kingdom to tinker with the dark arts. The result could be disastrous. That seems a far-fetched complaint, Queen Thecla says. Do not these dark arts require some degree of skill? I see no downside in appealing to the masses on an individual level. I find the idea quite charming, really. Let it be so. Over the next few months, as the days get colder and the first snow begins to fall, you furiously work in private on new spells powerful enough to change the fate of a kingdom. With your newfound experience in magic, the advanced book you took from the sunken library, oh fuck, I hate it when it makes me do this. Megali Magia? Or Mejali Magia? Or... Because great and magic are two different goods. They're two different G's. Now seems at least somewhat intelligible to you. You concentrate on the parts that deal with negation magic. In laboratories beneath the palace supplied to you by the Queen, you conduct magical experiments designed to draw immense power from the dark sun, gain negation. You use this power to make gears spin, axles turn, and levers lift in increasingly large models of factory machines. Gain automation. In these models, tiny wands of negation blast off pieces of raw material from iron bars, creating more cogs for ever larger machines. Something else you realize as you study the Megali Magia more and more is that the ancients new tricks to make magic safer that are lost to you. The book makes passing reference to the precautions every wizard takes. Apparently, wizards are supposed to draw runes and magic circles before casting big spells that reduce the negative side effects of magic. But you have no idea what these runes and circles should look like or how they work. if you're not careful, you may prove as dangerous to the world as a whole civilization of mages.
Whoop. Fine.
Meanwhile, the queen begins experimenting with public addresses to various towns of the kingdom. With your magical help, she begins to project her image to far-flung towns that have never seen the queen visit in person before. Town by town, she tells the people that she cares for them, and she lists progress on local construction projects and criminal cases, explaining any delays or setbacks. You think the people are really beginning to love the queen for this, gained kingdom power. But all the time she spends communicating with these towns leaves her a bit distracted, and you don't have a chance to talk to her as much as you'd like. Decreased Thekla relationship. Well, at least it's not because you fucked up, it's just because she's busy.
It's kind of because we did good.
It's like, aw. Oh, I made the queen busy. Too busy to understand how troubled I am. That's for the better, I think. Determining who the factions are at court is a fascinating logic puzzle. If Noble X insults Noble Y, then you carefully watch Noble Z. Does the noble join in the criticism, or come to Y's support? In this way, you build a mental map of the nobles at court and their alliances. Most importantly, you figure out which alliances you're implicitly in. It's perhaps no surprise that some of the oldest and most powerful guilds don't like you. You represent a threat to their monopolies and influence. Magic is an axis on which they can't fight. The oldest dames and dukes also lean conservative, and therefore your implicit heresy does not sit well with them either. On the other hand, many of the younger nobles and smaller guilds welcome your threat to the established order. They hope that you'll use magic to upend monopolies, bust trust, and essentially bring the destabilization that the old guard fears, so that they can have a shot. You could play their games. It might bring you a bit more security at court and reduce the power of the old guard. Do you use glamours to build bridges between the old guard and the new? Do you sow the seeds of discord among the old guard, which requires calculation, which we do have? Cast tricky divinations that reveal the old guard's secrets to each other. Or I don't need to get involved in this.
What is our calculation at? Oh yeah, actually, what are our non-magic stats? I didn't really see them last time you clicked.
Oh, sorry.
Because Gaijin is also curious about our kingdom power stat.
So our skills right now are ancient history, fighting, subtlety, and charisma. We are bad at fighting. Fighting is what you do with a sword, or physically. It's also your ability to not die when someone uses a sword on you. That's a little extreme. Most of the time, a sword won't kill you. Probably. Maybe. Maybe. We're pretty subtle, in big part because we are dressed in all black.
This is so subtle. I blend right in.
Well, in the dark especially, it helps.
Yeah.
So we are currently mildly more cautious than optimistic. We are mildly more solemn than humorous, and we're extremely more calculated than empathetic. Kingdom is currently at power 3. It starts at 2. We are currently vilified we're vilified for being the dark prophet advisor to Queen Zeal.
Look, I'm just saying, the floating island would be really handy.
And also, I'm your son. Or something. And a vampire, maybe.
Maybe. Can I be a vampire? I think that'd be kind of cool. I like that.
Gaijin thinks we should sow seeds of deception. We do find ourselves in the position at the Queen's left hand. Would we sit there and think, these people, they stand in the way of our progress. They stand in the way of my ultimate goal. I must bring them down.
I kind of like that too.
Their way.
If I do it by magic, then they'll know.
And besides, if I had never learned to fight on their terms, It's like I never learned to fight them at all.
Which, by the way, is true. I have not learned how to fight them in a very literal sense.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah.
Frankly, it's weird I still have this sword. I forgot. We do have a sword still, I noticed. I was like, oh yeah. I guess so. Sure.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just need to poke at stuff.
Yeah.
Agent says just leave notes at the door that say they suck. What? Oh, who would have said this? I mean, the thing is, with the way that the nobility works, you could do that. You leave an unsigned note that says, you suck, on their door, and they'd be like, which one of you was it? With a clever word placed here and there, you turn the old guard against one another. Understanding the map of connections among the nobles makes it easy to shatter it. All you need to do is convince Z to turn on X. To convince Z to turn on X is to trick X and Y into participating in the same conversation. With no need of magic, you ensure all political alliances against you are in tatters. Gain subtlety, increased adoration. Few notice your schemes, but Thekla does. And she approves.
We totally have a chessboard in our, room, and sometimes we go up to it. We come in from, doing something, and we move a piece, and we're like, yes. And then someone's like, does that game correspond to your plans? I don't know, a little bit.
And then occasionally, when you're leaving the court, Thekla stops you and is like, move my rook 2 spaces up. You know which way. I'll know if you cheat. You see Blessed Advisor Sam around the palace occasionally, but he seems to always recall a reason to head in a different direction, and you never talk to him outside of the throne room.
Because he realized you're a super dark evil wizard.
Yeah, no,
and maybe not
like,
the fun kind.
He's like, uh-oh. At the very least, you soon receive a letter from Mayor Koss detailing what has happened in Akroton since you left. Akroton is apparently the same mildly boring place it ever was, and the local gossip doesn't interest you as much as it once might have. But you appreciate that Koss took the time to write. Somebody at home doesn't hate you.
Yay!
With scouts reporting sightings of larger and larger airships near the Negative Sea, the Queen tells you that it's time to deploy your magical experiments into the kingdom. Over the course of a month, you supervise construction of the first factory since the time of the ancients to be powered by the dark sun. Giant pipes leading below the surface of the earth funnel negative energy directly from the dark sun to the cogs and gears above. These turning gears will move the assembly lines, which will guide weapons such as crossbows, swords, and even wands of negation from raw parts to finished products. If these should prove useful, you plan to scale up to the whole negation-powered airships of the kind the Magisterians have. The Queen is there, with you, for the initial activation, along with a few skeptical guild masters who will take control of production in these factories. The windows of the large warehouse-like building are currently papered over so that the public doesn't find out about the project prematurely. Even so, you built the factory in the countryside instead of the capital in case anything should go wrong. Everyone is bundled up. It's still rather cold. The Queen wears a hooded white fur cloak that fairly obscures her face. Is there some kind of switch to throw?
The kill switch is over there.
You say, pointing to a wooden lever in the wall.
But the factory needs a spell to start everything. May I?
The Queen hesitates, clenching and unclenching her hands. Yes, make it so. You point a hand towards the ceiling and spread the fingers of your other hand.
Nila energia. Metakinste. Set. Ergo Tassio.
Sure.
Sure.
Dark energy swirls around your body and forms a conduit into the pipes leading beneath the earth, priming the pumps for the energy to be leached from the dark sun. The conveyor belts lurch to life, and the gears and cogs begin to spin. Tiny crossbows are assembled by delicate golem hands, one piece at a time down the pipeline. Elsewhere, loud hammering begins as another golem begins to fashion a blade from iron.
It's working.
You tell the queen, who smiles with relief. Increased Thekla relationship, gain kingdom power. Then we've begun to save the kingdom, she says. Your lack of popularity among the common folk plays out as a series of sabotage-induced disasters plaguing your negation power plants. Thankfully, these incidents stop when the first power plant blows up, dissuading further saboteurs. Lost kingdom power, increased vilification. You finally decide that it's time to take a break from your magical research and treat
foolish avalanche.
Treat yourself to spending some of your stipend. In preparation for your shopping trip, you can also stop by your mine in the Crowned Mountains, gain 200 gold. Some shops are no longer very relevant to your new life in the capital, but some of the newer shops are quite interesting. Where would you like to spend your money? You have 500 gold. This is your last chance to spend money before the chapter climax.
Oh.
There's a new hat maker in town, clothing store, bookstore, pet store, new magic jewelry store, weapons and armor store. I'm done.
You're welcome, Gaijin. Our clothing's great. It suits us so well.
And everybody is like, shit, okay, scary fucking dark wizard here, and I have to take him seriously.
Yeah, it's working out pretty well for us. I've just been really happy with it.
We thought we could shame him out of here, but then he started destroying our alliances.
I'm tempted to say magical jewelry store, but I don't dislike pet store.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say right now, we can look at all of them.
That's
and
true.
Come back to them. But I do need to remind you, once gold is spent, it's spent, and we can't get it back. So anything we see after spending it is gone. Also, shit. We only have 500 gold? Fuck.
Wait, shit, we didn't ask the queen for any money. We should have asked to be paid.
Your stipend was 300 gold, which is low, by the way. I was very surprised to see the number 300 pop up. I was like, I didn't know you could make that little. I genuinely didn't know you could make that little. I played this game several times. I did not know you could make 300 as a stipend.
Is it just because we've got a shit reputation?
We've got a shit reputation. We didn't do super great in the interview. And yeah, we've got a lot of other things working against us. No, I usually get like 700 from her. But I've gotten up to 1,000.
Well, good thing we have this mine, or we'd be really nothing.
Yeah, the mine that we ruined Tal's reputation to get, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's just look here first at the weapon and armor store. You notice that the swords and armor are selling at a discount now. Apparently people don't think that melee weapons and physical armor are going to be all that useful in an age of magic. Well, they're probably right, come to think of it. You focus on the items that might be useful against the Magisterians and their negation blasts. We can afford to buy one shield, which can absorb one negation blast. You go into the new jewelry store, hoping for a nice selection of magical curiosities. Unfortunately, the demand for magical items appears to have exceeded the supply here in the capital, and the store is full of only one kind of item: silver pendants in various shapes. There must be nearly 100 of them in the display cases, and not a trace of any other kind of magical item. Do you have something that is... Oh, sorry, that's you.
Yep. Do you have something that is not these?
You ask the shopkeeper in a strangely not intense tone for once. I'm just, baffled. Wow, yeah. Really? It's kind of creepy.
It's really weird. It's a really weird shop you have.
Sometimes...
And trust me, I know weird vibes.
Yeah, sometimes, he says. Not often. Not now. You suppose this is how stores selling used goods usually works. If the goods were great, people wouldn't sell them off to begin with. You go in to buy one, the shopkeeper says. It's supposed to be good luck of various kinds. Unless you wear more than one. Then they just make you feel sick. So don't do that. Running your hand over different pendants in the display case, you get a sense of what kind of luck they might give. The fox head with the citrine eye is attuned to vimvancy. The ink-pointed star with the sapphire in the center is attuned to divination. The dove inlaid with alabaster is attuned to glamour. The other schools of magic are not represented. Perhaps users of negation and automation met more unfortunate ends over the years. And then all of these cost 100. We can afford one magical hybrid creature. We can't do this because we don't have a dragon egg. And we can't afford a baby dragon on their own.
Aw.
Because we missed the dragon egg. Anyway, the bookstore. When you go to the bookstore, you find that there's been a large change in their stock. The books for lay people on magic, the neighbors, and related subjects have sold out as people try to understand the new world you're creating. However, advanced books on magic are no longer banned, and as a result, they've come across a few technical books that are indecipherable to the general public, but possibly perfect for you. There's Dracus Monopati, the Draconian Life Cycle, Nomai et Antinomai, Divination and Anti-Divination, Kafsi et Cleos Venenum, Negation Burn and Rot, Sosteniere Automat, Sustainable Automation, and then Athanasia Experimenta, the Immortality Experiment, which we can't afford. So there are some advanced books on magic that seem to have special properties to them, in addition to just being good for magic. And they all cost 500, which is all of our money, so that would be that. Oh, we already agreed, you're not looking for a new set of clothes here.
Yeah, no, I think we're good there.
You also can't afford a hat. But you heard good things about the new milliner in the capital, but you hadn't expected it to be the milliner you met in Acroton. Oh, good to see you, the hat seller says. You've no idea how popular hats have become since you became the Queen's famous advisor. I was able to move my business to the capital thanks to you. I've even been dabbling a bit with old patterns said to help guide the flow of magic. Take a look. The milliner's hats are more expensive than ever at 700 gold apiece, but she does have some interesting stock. A huge floppy white hat would potentially enlarge the effects of your glamours while also making you seem friendly and approachable. The peacockatrice hat has a small splay of peacockatrice feathers, covered silver, blue, green, yellow, and black. You suppose this might increase your affinities with the 5 schools. The shadow veil is a black hood with a black veil that makes the wearer's face impossible to see. The wearer can see out dimly, but the darkness would focus your perceptions for divination and increase your connection to the dark sun. You don't see any less expensive hats in stock anymore. And we can't actually spend money on this kind of hat, so we leave. So, what do we do?
Oh, you're poor again. Well.
Get out! Haha! Ta-ta! She is where we bought our floppy black hat from.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so that's presumably why your business is doing good. But
yeah, because not only did you buy one of her hats, you advertised it so well by becoming the Queen's advisor that people were like, damn, where'd the Queen advisor get its hat?
All the kids are wearing big floppy hats now.
Mm-hmm. Damn it. Don't they know that this isn't a costume?
This isn't an aesthetic. It's a lifestyle.
One that they shouldn't want.
I also feel like we should get that book because it sounds like it might negate. Some of those sound like they might help. They might be some of the ways to protect yourself from the backlash of types of magic. But even if not, it might be good to get the negation one.
Oh, hi, Gigi. You're just there.
You want to get Cuffsy at Cleo's Venenum?
Yeah, I think so.
Cajun agrees. Though still wishing that we could also have a shield. I understand.
It'd be nice. Yeah. I mean, if we had 700, I'd get that a shield and a pet. Wait, I don't know. Whatever.
You buy Koski at Cleos Venenum, hoping to learn something about the two magical dangers of negative energy, burn and rot. Astonishingly, the author suggests that that one is a counter for the other, and the two health risks cancel each other out. The particles in negative energy clouds serve as a kind of reality check on a body rebelling under the effects of rot, killing the most aberrant tissue first, while leaving healthy tissue intact. The opposite is true as well. A body exposed to too much negative energy can be tricked into living by glamours that convince the tissue that it can fight on. Both only work to a certain extent, however. Enough glamour or enough negative energy will always kill. Your understanding of glamour, magic, and negation increases a great deal as a result of this revelation. Would you like to try to cast glamours to bring your body into balance? Sure, I'll do that a lot. I'll try doing a little of that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll leave things be.
I like magical cancer.
Maybe, yeah, but like, what if I didn't have magical cancer anymore and then I'd maybe less cool?
I guess try doing a little bit of it. What if it makes me less powerful? Can't afford that, not now. Maybe one day. Not now. So yeah, I vote for a little.
Alright.
A little bit. I can have a little bit of not magic cancer as a treat.
You cautiously adopt your new treatment, casting a few glamours to accumulate rot and counteract the negative burn. Increased optimism.
Ugh, damn it. It's not what I want. I can feel that infecting me worse than any ailment.
You decide you're done spending your hard-earned non-money. One day, as you're walking around the capital to get some fresh air, you come across an advertisement for a magical academy. Want to learn magic like Royal Sorcerer Vex? It reads. Wizard Vance will show you how. The ad proceeds to claim that Vance can teach the same kinds of magic that you know because Vance studied under you and is your closest pupil, which is certainly misleading at the very least. You're somewhat surprised that the church lets Vance get away with this, but perhaps the church really is holding back in light of the Magisterians at the border. Then again, you've noticed Queen Thecla pushing back against the church in the capital as well. Perhaps her influence has helped protect Vance. At any rate, Vance appears to be shamelessly using your name to promote his budding magic academy, so you decide you may as well investigate.
I knew I was right not to fucking pick Vance.
Yeah, this was
For reference...
This is the perfect outcome, you're right.
For reference, Vance was a dude who was also, when we got captured by the church, he also happened to be there and was like the son of a royal and was like, I wasn't brainwashed with the rest of them because I said I was a royal and talked legalese and they were like, ugh.
His father's a politician.
Yeah, and so he bought himself just enough time and we were like, fine, we'll rescue you, but leave. Was my opinion, and I think it's good.
Well, in addition, he had only just been brought there, and he had only just been brought there because his professor turned him in for cheating.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that which, as he points out, happens all over the fucking school. He wasn't even trying to cheat. You may or may not believe that. But he was practicing divination, which he does have a book on divination. And he didn't, and because he's an idiot, he doesn't know that divination has a negative side effect. His professor knew, and assumed that he was cheating, and then turned him in immediately. So he got thrown in just as they were sending a new passel of wizards to choose heaven or hell. And because of that, and the fact that he was like, also there's like a law you can't hold a magistrate's like kid in here, which by the way, he then says, I don't think that like that's probably a law, right? Maybe? And you're like, it's not.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, no, you think just no, that's not a thing. So really, he just lied to them so without knowing it.
The worst.
And then he was like, "Oh my gosh, wait, you're a wizard? There are others? Oh, it's just you. Will you teach me, please?"
We were like, get out of here, kid.
And then he was like, "All right, you'll see though. You'll wish you had kept Vance around."
Still don't, though.
And Frank cast him away.
Yeah.
And now that we made that correct decision, we've got a fun thing in town.
I stand by it. Like, I don't know if you expect me not to, but I do. He's the worst.
No, I'm just, putting it all out there for Gaijin.
No, that's handy.
The address on the flyer turns out to lead only to a burned-out building, its windows long ago smashed. But Vance senses your arrival and makes mental contact with you through divination, then directs you to the real address, his apartment. So that's how he avoided the Inquisitors. Vance's telepathically communicated voice sounds enthusiastic about your visit. Well, hold on, Gaijin, I'm not done reading. I don't accept answers from when I'm not done reading. Mm-hmm. They get
I
negated.
don't even look at them.
Negation magic! Vance's apartment is in the wealthier district in town, in a white building with a columned portico on the style of the ancients. You make your way up a marble spiral staircase and knock on a door on the third floor. Vance answers.
Oh, I was Vance, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I know, were you?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
I don't remember. Vex! He greets you enthusiastically. You can see a handful of students sitting cross-legged on the floor behind him. It's a rather nice apartment with polished hardwood floors and tasteful framed art on the walls. You notice Vance is wearing the navy blue robes typically reserved for a professor. It strikes you as odd that Vance should be old enough to be a teacher to these students, who are all in their teens, but you suppose many private tutors and nannies are his age, and in a year's time he graduated and taught at the university itself. The students behind Vance are trying to keep tiny animals from running around: lizards, mice, hamsters, and snakes. You suppose Vance is teaching vivimancy, though you didn't think Vance knew anything about that. Do we offer to be a guest speaker for a fee, convince Vance that he doesn't know enough to teach magic, or betray Vance to the Inquisitors?
Can't we not spend money anymore?
No, he pays us.
Right, no, I mean, but what would we do with the money?
No, the climax of this chapter.
Oh, I thought...
Yeah.
Okay, that was not how I read that. Two. Definitely not three.
I would never turn someone in for magic, no matter how fucking annoying they are. But I do hate this guy.
You gestured for Vance to close the door on his students, which he does.
Listen, you haven't had nearly enough training to be teaching these young people.
You tell Vance?
These students are awfully young and this magic is awfully dangerous. If you don't mess up, they will.
Vance sighs. I guess I do feel kind of like an imposter, he says.
Better safe than dead.
You say frankly.
For right now, you should concentrate on learning more, and not resting on your laurels and teaching.
Learning more from you? Vance says, brightening.
Sure.
Ha!
When I have time.
Vance shuts down his short-lived school and becomes your apprentice. His parents even begin sending you a nice stipend, an unexpected bonus. 500 gold.
Okay.
Yeah, and we definitely don't get more if we do it the other way. As the first airships begin to roll off the assembly lines, one of the first pilots is Mayor Koss. Koss comes in for a landing on the grassy Edra Common, on one of the new single-rider skiffs, a thin vehicle that the rider hunches over while holding handlebars. The landing skids tear 2 long ruts through the grass, and when he brakes a bit too hard, the skiff begins to spin out. He leaps from the vehicle as it uses up its momentum, chewing a spiral through the grass. Koss looks dismayed for a moment at the destroyed lawn, but then regains his ebullient behavior, ebullient manner. He lifts flight goggles and unwinds a scarf. Rex! These airships are amazing! Such a rush to ride, and so quick! I can get to the capital from Ackerton in half a day! Do you want to ride? See the sights of the kingdom? That sounds amazing. Let's go! I suppose it would be good to conduct more first-hand tests. I think I'll wait until the design is perfected. See you later.
I feel like that sounds amazing, but like the guy was like, that sounds amazing. I mean, yeah, no, that we should, yeah, sounds good.
I mean, I could, conduct tests. It's totally not why I want to.
Yeah. So I want you to select one and then very quickly select 2. And you know that's not possible.
No, I didn't. No, I just did.
Oh, nice. I suppose I haven't conducted enough in-person tests.
You say?
Very well. Let's go.
Increase calculation, increase solemnity. I'm not excited. I'm really solemn and purposeful. Koss looks crestfallen at your attitude. He's just going to some faraway sightseeing locations, but you don't want to waste time on long flights headed in one direction when you could be testing out the airship's capabilities through more extreme maneuvers. Well, that perked up Koss again. You spent the afternoon performing sharp turns, steep dives, and barrel rolls above the capital, with Koss laughing and whooping all the while. Meanwhile, you make careful mental notes about where to improve the airship's design. Gain kingdom power. By the end of the day, Koss's enthusiasm is fully returned, and you enjoy discussing the technical aspects of that airship design with him. Increased Koss relationship. He promises to return for more tests soon. You muse that Koss is actually a lot like you. Analytical, open-minded, enjoying the spirit of invention. Hey, Koss! Wait up. I kiss Koss. Hey, Koss! Wait up! But then I get cold feet. I'm analytical enough to know that a relationship would never work.
There's no way we get cold feet. That's canonically not the case. Do it in a very bad way.
Yeah, no, we do have, like... of the people that don't hate us, Koss is up there. The people who love us the most, of course, are Sam, Blessed Sam, and the Queen.
Yeah.
All of our shitty friends back at home in their podunk little whatevers are like, whatever, I guess, gross. But then you you're like, oh hi, you're the Queen, and I'm like a creepy guy with his hand in his left eye, and she's like, very good. You must be. You know, you look like you're kind of down for some dark, twisted tactics, but understand the costs. I like that. I actually had kind of forgotten until we started pushing your character against the Queen that the Queen is actually kind of like your character, only a lot more queeny about it.
I mean, I was kind of angling for the Queen or Sam, but like,
I mean, No, you have time.
I mean, I guess my question is, like, if I kiss Goss here, does that push me away from them?
Maybe this won't last forever. But it could last for now.
Yeah, I think that the final lock for a relationship is proposing. I think.
Well, I'm willing to explore this.
Well,
I have
okay.
liked Goss.
Are you willing to explore that? You're willing to explore this, but are you willing to explore this? I came up here to learn more about airships. And my old friend the mayor, well, he understands. But do I want to drag him down? I don't know.
He's one of the last things from my old life.
How can I mar the sterling reputation I still have with him with my cruel, infectious kiss? But maybe he's strong enough to survive it. I don't know. I'm getting cold feet. Wait, no, I don't do that. Ah! Ah!
Yeah, I'm definitely, like, anti-voting, too.
Well,
I think.
Gaten says I'll let Frank decide.
Kiss him. Do it. Kiss him. Do a little kissy.
Ow!
Oh.
It's fine.
Okay.
Alright, because the last time we kissed somebody from our hometown, it went great. Let's
Yeah.
go!
Hey, Koss, wait up.
Koss turns to you, and you surprise him with a kiss. He smiles. I thought you'd never come around,
Just a test flight.
you say.
A prototype.
I'd say it's practically perfect already, Koss says. Koss promises to visit the capital more often, and he makes good on that promise. Your test flights begin to change in feeling as you clasp hands during the flight and stand close to each other when discussing results. It's pleasant to be around someone like-minded. Your negation-powered factories begin to operating around the kingdom, automatically creating weapons, armor, and tools that once would have been created by hand. Though they mostly produce goods directly for the crown, the queen grants permission to the factory bosses to sell some goods directly to the public as well, passing on a commission to the crown and a royalty paid to you. These manufactured goods are much cheaper than handcrafted tools, but you still turn a tidy profit from the royalties, gain 500 gold. Though the quality of the goods produced is not as good as what human artisans would create, the human creators can't compete with the low prices of these manufactured goods. As a result, many laborers around the kingdom find themselves out of work. The kingdom has never had a formal education system in place, so these men and women have difficulty finding new jobs. Your factories only need one kind of supervision, namely, getting in contact with you if anything goes wrong. And so jobs at these factories are not as well paid as the skilled labor these smiths and coopers and cobblers have been doing before. There are riots in food markets, and your factories are often vandalized, increased vilification. Some are outright destroyed, ostensibly in the name of the church, but more likely because you're disrupting many livelihoods. Meanwhile, Magisterian airships have now been spotted by the general public. The smooth-hulled ships cruise by towns near the negative sea without making contact or even revealing any Magisterian crew. The aerodynamic metal ships, equipped with huge wands of negation, are enigmatic but certainly do not seem friendly. Were it not for this imminent threat, the people would be no doubt still more unhappy about the changes. As it is, many of them accept it as a necessary evil.
When the war is over, I'll destroy all the factory. Probably not, but that's what Batman would do.
We need to consider how to keep the people happy during this time of uncertainty, Queen Thecla says. You are seated on her left-hand side of the throne room, while Blessed Advisor Sam is on the right. Things aren't as bad as they think, they're just panicking. If we can get them to focus on something besides their troubles... This is not a problem that demands a magical solution, Blessed Advisor Sam objects before you can give an opinion. The people simply need to have faith in us and in Abraxas. When we are called on to change, we must do so with a glad heart, and not cling to what once was. Queen Thecla casts a skeptical look at Blessed Advisor Sam, as if she's a little tired of him being in the room. Any ideas? The Queen asks you. Teach glamours to entertainers and use divination to spread their influence. Broadcast the culture of the capital, but without glamours. Tell people to heed the church. All they need is faith and love.
Invent television, or tell everyone to go to church.
Oh, well, no. One is invent stage pyrotechnics. One is invent television. One is go to church.
Well, when you put it that way, that does drag me towards option one a bit more.
All the entertainers can, and then when they're like, you know, getting their shit wrecked by rot, people will just be like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's that fast life, man.
Sex, negation, and rock and roll.
That's how I tell her. That's how I convince her that she won't get pregnant. But the truth is, I didn't use any negation magic. Because, like, you know, it feels kind of scary, like, you know, shooting a blob of negative energy at my dick.
Yeah.
Gagent says, TVIMO, we are bad at glamour.
But we could stand to be better. Doing things with this type of magic is usually a way you get... Up to this point has been how you get better at it, mostly.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure when things count the most, that's the same.
I mean, this doesn't count the most. It's not the biggest choice we've made. I think I'm for one, honestly.
Guess that means I get the dice out.
Mm-hmm.
Odd, frank, even, Gagent. Four. So, Gagent. Gagent wins.
Yay.
The dice are on your side again. I think you said that last time. You should say it again this time. It'll be like, you know, like a bookend sort of deal. I rolled a d4, by the by. Nice!
Mm-hmm.
Your Majesty, we have a wealth of entertainment here in the capital that could help lift the spirits of the border towns.
You say?
Let us apply the same magics that broadcast your image and voice to our best actors and musicians, so that the whole kingdom benefits from the delights of the capital.
For once, Blessed Advisor Sam just shrugs. That's reasonable, I suppose. Queen Thecla nods. Let it be so. You go from musician to musician, from one acting troupe to another, offering to broadcast their works to distant towns that they themselves have never visited. They often ask whether they will be able to hear their listeners' applause. You assure them that this is so. Couriers carry that, so that is actually the difference. TV isn't like two-way.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's more like we've invented streaming.
Oh no! Well, now I hate it.
Couriers carry large enchanted mirrors to distant towns.
I'll do this, but could you maybe, like, make some sort of, I don't know, cartoon person to take my place when you broadcast it?
No. Yes, no, we will not be doing that. Leave. Couriers carry large enchanted mirrors to distant towns, and the performers themselves use a giant mirror in the palace garden to broadcast their music and plays to those distant artifacts. The constant performances in the garden create a pleasant atmosphere in the palace, and Queen Thekla approves. Increased Thekla relationship. Meanwhile, you understand that the performances are a great hit in the border towns, which have stopped their worried murmuring about your magical technology. Increased adoration. Finally, they're understanding. I just want to do what's best for them, even if it's not always what they want. Your flights with Koss become more and more frequent until it seems you're traveling somewhere nearly every day. Finally, in the middle of a sunny day, he flies you to a high mesa in the Crown Mountains that you've never visited before. From here, the whole kingdom is laid out before you, from the Shining Sea in the west to the Negative Sea in the east. You can pick out Akroton in the southeast, the capital in the north, the river Nymnos, winding at your feet. You can even see where you ended your first flight together. I want to show you all of this someday, Koss says quietly as you observe the panorama together from the high ledge. The world is so full of wonder, and we've only scratched the surface so far. And that's why I'm going to do what I'm about to do. Koss removes a small box from one of the pouches at his belt and gets down on one knee. He opens the box to reveal a silver ring set with a dark, many-hued gem. Rich indigo, violet, and deep forest green swirl on its surface. You must be staring at the gem because he smiles broadly and says, "Oh, it's a polychromatic diamond. A diamond scoured by the shimmering curtain to contain all kinds of other minerals. But just below the surface, it's still a pure diamond." Though he says this with forced confidence, his hand is shaking slightly. Well, what it means is that though I have many interests on the surface, I love you with all my heart. I accept. I love you, Koss. I love you, but do we have to join an antiquated tradition like marriage? Koss, I've come to realize I value you more as a friend.
Huh. I'm really curious about what 2 leads to. Like, is this the poly route, or is it just like, I want to be in a long-term relationship with you, but I don't like the name marriage?
Well, I can tell you right now, if the other 2 that you're eyeing are Sam or Thekla, neither one of them would be open to an open relationship. They are a priest and the queen.
Yeah,
Gagen's right. You get handfasted.
That's what I want. Like, I don't want to pick this and have Koss be like, "Oh, so you just want to fuck other people?" So probably the first one.
Yeah?
I think so.
Willy.
I love you, Koss.
You offer your hand, and Koss slips on the engagement ring. You feel a rush as you realize the magnitude of what you just did. Koss gives a whoop of joy and hugs you jubilantly. "Oh, wonderful," he says. "And don't worry, you don't have to do any wedding planning that you don't want to. I'm a born planner. It'll be great."
But meanwhile,
You say.
we could stay up here a bit longer.
You gaze out at the beautiful landscape before you, and also think how nobody can see the two of you in the center of the mesa. "Of course," Koss says. "I packed a picnic in the airship's trunk. Probably overprepared, I suppose." You ruffle Koss's hair affectionately.
Of course you did.
You receive a letter from your mother asking you to return to Akroton to sort through some of your things she found in the attic. She threatens to throw them away if you don't come soon. Since you might be better able to understand some of the old artifacts you scavenged now that you know more magic, and since you were looking for an excuse to visit Mirkos anyway, you agree to come with all haste. "Tell me all about the engagement," your mother is saying as she pours you some tea. The smell of peppermint pervades her living room, which is full of quilts and lacy pillows she made herself. "Did you propose yourself? How did you do it?"
No, it was actually Koss who proposed.
You say.
It was very sweet.
You recount the events of that night. Your father taps out and leaves the house after about 2 hours of such questioning, claiming that there's some pressing business at his construction site. Suddenly, the whole house is rocked by an explosion above you. The ceiling collapses. And, hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer you promotion on your channel.
Oh boy.
What?
Do I have?
Why won't it let me... God, why does this... There! Done.
I am not a mod.
Oh. That's weird.
Guess it just never happened.
I can't do that right now. I will do it later. Suddenly, the whole house is rocked by an explosion above you. The ceiling collapses, and you shove your mother out of the way of the falling debris. Behind you, the tea table is engulfed in an avalanche of falling timber. You look up and see a negative energy cloud gradually settling into the room through the hole into the ceiling, tinging the sky behind it a dark purple. A great shadow of a Magisterian airship passes overhead. So much for the stuff in the attic. What on earth just happened? Your mother demands.
I think the Magisterians have found me.
You say.
We need to get out of here.
You leave your mother's house just in time. Another negative energy explosion levels the house, leaving only a black cloud where it once was. My home! Your mother cries. The shrieks of fleeing Acrotonians seem distant as you contemplate the loss of the home you grew up in. Looking up, you see a Magisterian airship, its sleek metal hull looking entirely alien above your normally quiet hometown. The vessel is a smooth half-sphere flanked by large black cannons. A white shaft on the swiveling mount stands at the bow of the strange ship. Its barrel is as wide and as tall as a person, making it unlike any cannon you've ever seen. These weapons are manned by figures wearing bowl-shaped helmets, gray cloaks, and black enameled chainmail. The powerful automation magic keeping the airship aloft makes all the hair stand up on your body. What in the name of Abraxas is that? Your mother says. Oh, please let this be a dream.
It's a Magisterian scout.
No.
Oh shit. Sorry. My bad. I just assumed that was me.
It's a Magisterian scout ship. Tal calls from down the street. She unslings a longbow from behind her back. Vex, just get your mom to safety. She takes aim at one of the Magisterian crew.
Tal, are you crazy?
You say?
You're the one who needs to get inside.
Magisterian? She means the neighbors? Your mother asks you.
Sorry, Mother.
You say.
I think they've come for me and your...
Collateral damage? You can't think of a polite way to put it, so you just trail off. The black cannon on the side of the airship swiveled and fired to your left and right, leaving craters and clouds of negative energy in the street. As soon as you turn to look behind you, they cut off that means of escape as well, with another blast of negative energy. The blasts are interrupted when the Magisterian gunner gets one of Tal's arrows in the face.
Thanks, Tal.
You call out. What would you ever do without me? She replies, sounding a little exacerbated. Oh crap. She leaps back in time to avoid a negation blast at her own feet, lobbed by another wand-wielding Magisterian on the airship. I'm okay, Tal says, though it's unclear who she's reassuring. Your mother grips your arm in fear. Another one is stepping up to the cannon. Do something! Blast the airship with negation magic. I cast a glamour and demand the airship leave me and Acroton alone. Take control of the vessel with automation magic, or I surrender.
This feels like the main thing we've been learning negation magic for half the time, so... I do feel like this one's cut and dry. I mean, like, I'm tempted to do automation and, like, maybe learn about the airship. But, we're twice as good, and now's probably not the time to risk using a thing we're worst at. Yeah, it's blast, right? If it was a little more balanced, but, yeah.
You draw all the negative energy you can from the dark sun, letting it wrap around you and fill the air with the scent of char.
Nihilo Magna.
You shout, pointing at the giant metal airship. A black javelin raises from your hand towards the ship. A black shield of negative energy appears briefly in the air before the ship, but the javelin pierces it. The explosion that follows engulfs the whole ship, leaving no trace of it. A cheer and scattered applause goes up from your fellow Acrotonians. You think that's the first time you've ever heard someone cheer the use of negation energy, increased adoration. But Tal is giving you a displeased look, as are several other Acrotonians. Oh well, it had to be done. Decreased Tal relationship.
Sorry, Tal. I walk a dark path that you cannot follow.
Yeah, and I don't want to, so I won't.
That's fine.
That's my son! Your mother says proudly. I'm glad you could do something about that thing, Tal says to you, her gratitude mingling with mild annoyance. Having taken care of the airship, you realize you need to contact the Queen immediately. You head to the mirror at the center of town that is used for broadcasting concerts from the capital. You cast a divination to reverse the flow of communication. You establish communication with the palace garden, and after some negotiation and sharp words for a random gardener who happened to be near the great mirror there, you get the Queen.
What? I'm doing the roses? Hello? What?
You try to rotate the mirror to minimize the glare from the sun overhead. Yes, Royal Sorcerer of X, the Queen says. Is that the Queen? Your mother says in awe, having followed you. Similar murmurs float throughout the crowd that has been gathered behind you, but you pay them little heed.
Acroton has been attacked.
You tell the Queen.
I think they came for me.
The beginning of a war, then. If they get their way, the Queen says. But they may be willing to parley. Tell me, would you be willing to act as an emissary to the Magisterians? I wonder if we'd avoid a war if you could convince them that we're as advanced as they are. If I send an ordinary diplomat, they'll be unimpressed, but if I send you, well, maybe there's a chance. What do you think? Could you convince them that we're their equals, not to be trifled with? They won't listen to me, and if I'm captured, all is lost. Let us prepare for war. I'll do my best to get the Magisterians to desist, Your Majesty. Cast a divination to determine whether to strike first or negotiate.
I mean, on the one hand, I do feel like
There's no choice but to fight.
it's very
Our
fitting
character.
with our world. Yeah.
I've come too far. I've sacrificed so much for what? To be handed to the enemy? No! Not now! Not yet!
I'm tempted about the divination one, though. I feel like that one.
You briefly cast a divination to learn which option would be better, war or peace. The stunning complexity of the paths the future could take in just a few months overwhelm you. In all your experimentation with divination magic, you have never seen such a complicated delta of rivulets and streams of time. You try to make sense of the vision. Two major streams of time diverge from where you are now, one high and the other low. You gather the high road must be peace, but as it is on high ground, many rivulets fall into the other stream, war, while others slip into a stream that eventually cascades into oblivion, presumably meaning your death. A final jumping off point before this great waterfall leads to a tiny whirlpool swirling around that looks like a crystal ball. The other stream is more turbulent, but it's more likely to carry you to the finish. You see that one key choice leads to three colors of water: pure, muddy, and black. The black waters carry you further, but the far future layer looks grim. The pure water grows wan, its power diminished over time. And the muddy water will just keep going along, turbulently. All three seem likely to travel to one of the three final destinations: a green valley, a whirling hurricane, or a black and purple death cloud. Most of the water is currently headed towards the black cloud, but you sense you still have some sway over this outcome. Examining the water itself, you see some trace of yellow and green muck that must signify rot, but it doesn't look bad. You feel confident that you'll make it to one of the other futures unless you evoke some truly powerful glamour. your vision ends.
I think
You can take the high and narrow road, risk falling to the left or to the right, one leading you back to war, one leading you to ultimate death, and potentially getting to the end, which looks like a crystal ball. And then on the other hand, you can follow the heavy stream right now that's likely to carry you without dropping you, but the outcomes are various and more or less one of them seems like more powerful of a stream than others. Which notably, the black waters that are likely to carry you farther all have which notably the black and purple death cloud is currently what they all seem to be heading towards. But that doesn't mean that you'll go there. They still also have little rivulets that go out to the others. And also it's not very mucky. It's not very mucky. And then we'll look at things here. Negation.
I'm kind of leaning towards 2.
Our ancient history is good. Our fighting is bad. Our subtlety is fantastic. Our charisma is excellent. Which is less than fantastic. I don't actually understand. These are very arbitrary as far as I've come to notice. Because like 2 is like good. It's so if we're anticipating a lot of sneaking,
Yeah, maybe we should go in and be like, I want to talk to them directly.
okay.
And so does Gaijin.
I'll do my best to get the Magisterians to desist, Your Majesty. The Queen looks relieved. So, you think you can succeed?
Have faith, my queen.
You say. And now we're gonna leave it there. I think it's been long enough. It's a good enough place to stop.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Gigi. That's good, because Gigi's decided to be in front of the screen, where the words are.
Good.
Like, directly where the words are. Oh, and now she's attacking me, gently.
Now, we shall see if we can walk the delicate tightrope walk of diplomacy in a land that has been locked from us for 2,000 years, only to come at us with warships. See you next time!
See ya!